People mocked each other, kind of like the Factor. Some of the biggest names in Hollywood took part, and all of this has been chronicled by his daughter, Dina, who's written a book called Memories Are Made of This, an old Dean Martin song. I spoke with Miss Martin a few days ago.
The Dean Martin Show honors our man of the hour, and tonight it's going to be Dean.
Miss Martin, your father was a legendary guy, so let's begin with him. The cliche and the jokes about his drinking were on every roast. What was the real truth about your father's drinking?
Well, he didn't drink that much, but everybody has to have a gimmick.
You have not lived until you have seen Dean Martin in a drunken stupor whistling for his dog. Their voice.
He would come home after a hard day of work, have a cocktail with my mom, and then a little wine at dinner.
Dean accidentally drank a glass of water, and he's going to self-destruct in 5 seconds.
So that was it. He wasn't lushing it up in the bars and all that?
You know, the thing is, he never would have been able to do the incredible amount of work that he did if he was drinking half as much as they said.
Frank Sinatra was born in Hoboken, New Jersey, as an unwanted child, and now he's wanted in 5 states.
Now, on the roast, most of the stuff was written, even the ad-libs. It looked like there were ad-libs coming back and forth, but it was all scripted, right?
It was, actually, except for Nipsey Russell or Don Rickles, people like that who were comedians.
We kid about great stars such as you, Bob. Why? Because you're old and washed up. But I tell you this. Is he laughing, Dean? Take a look. See if Bob's laughing. If he ain't laughing, show him a picture of Jack. I'll tell you this.
The toughest guy to handle was Rickles, right? Don Rickles?
There's no handling Don Rickles. He is brilliant because he can be brutal.
Dean, I thank you for your wonderful introduction. You would love the evening if you knew you were here.
And he just cracked my dad up. He loved Don Rickles.
Frank Sinatra is the big dog. Tell me a little bit about Sinatra.
I call him Uncle Frank. He was so kind to me, so interesting. He was a doll.
When he was out of high school, he decided to become a boxer. He fought 26 fights. Half of them were with the cops, and the other half with the photographer.
That's true.
He adored my dad, absolutely, loved being on his show.
Dean has probably brought more fun into my life than anybody I know. As for this evening, I've enjoyed every week of it.
Why were people afraid of Sinatra?
I think it was a protection for him. You know, he could be kind of a tough guy. You know, and I'm sure that you know for yourself, there's a lot of fans out there who want to come over and say hi to you. And finally, you know, you can have enough. And I think, you know, with Frank Sinatra, he had to put that air about him. Bob
Hope was also on the roast.
Dean got his start in show business singing with a Sammy Watkins band in Cleveland. He got $7 a night, 9 when he didn't show up.
The roast was always funny, and whenever he was there, it was more important.
I was a little surprised when I was asked to be here tonight to honor Bob Hope. Well, surprised isn't exactly the right word. Annoyed.
In fact, I believe on that show we even had Henry Kissinger.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Secretary of State, Dr. Henry Kissinger.
The people that would show up for the Dean Martin show, it was absolutely spectacular. It was unheard of. Everybody would meet first, have a couple drinks, and then they would go out and do the show.
You tell me they drank before the show, Miss Martin. Excellent.
I never saw much drinking in my life. And you know what would be funny? If Dino's the one who drives us all home.
One guy who didn't do a lot of appearances outside of his own programs, Jackie Gleason. How did he fit in?
Well, first of all, you know, my dad loved him. Everybody loved, you know, the Honeymooners, and everybody showed up on this show.
I can move Russell next to the wino here. Then it'll be Nipsey and Tipsy.
But unlike your father, Gleason was a hard liver. I mean, Gleason did, you know, drink a lot. So his persona and your father's persona were similar, but you say that your father was kind of a home guy, whereas Gleason was a guy that, you know, lived it up.
The last line that he said was something about drinking.
There's an old saying that a man drinks to forget. And now that the evening is over, I'm heading straight for the bar.
That was Jackie Gleason.
That was. The younger guy back then was Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson is a comedian who is seen every night in millions of bedrooms all over America. And that's why his last wife left him.
He was right up there with all of them. And in fact, I'm thinking Bob Newhart said...
Some of you may not know this. Johnny's first wife was named Joan. Second wife was Joanne. His present wife is Joanna. The man just won't go for new towels.
And it cracked everybody up. There's no better television than that.
I agree, and that's why we're doing the Dean Martin roast as the TV icon. Miss Martin, a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks for taking the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
And if you want to know more